I always like the doorways in a lot of countries in Asia and sometimes in Europe. I get these doorways and don't quite make it through. It's been a few days since I've done a question and answer session, and so I thought I'd take today and talk a little bit about hostels. I'm staying here in Brasov for 10 days at a hostel, and it's pretty nice. So I think this is the perfect opportunity to talk a little bit about hostels. If you already know about hostels, not interested in hostels, then you want to probably skip this episode. But if you're from the United States and you're curious, this might be just the episode for you to watch. One of the questions I received is, what is a hostel and why do you stay in a hostel? And obviously this is from an American because there aren't that many hostels in America, whereas in Asia and Europe they're extremely popular and very, very common. So this is a hostel, and I'll take you through the hostel that I'm staying in. The hostel's name is the Jungen Stube Hostel, and this means young place, I guess, young place. So it's a place for youth hostel. That's typically what they call these places. So I'll walk inside. Inside you'll see the receptionist area and a living room social area. So over here you see the reception. Somebody's checking in, checking out, getting information. And back here is the social area. You can relax here with the couch, play some chess, some games, board games, very popular. And sometimes watch TV, Olympics, whatever's happening. And if you need a computer, typically they have 1 or 2 computers that you can either rent. Sometimes they're free. It just depends on the hostel. This is very, very typical. Then the next area in the hostel that's important is the kitchen. So here you can see a typical kitchen for a hostel with some tables over here. So you can buy your own food from the grocery store and cook your own meal. Somebody's cooking their lunch here. And there's a refrigerator over here for you to store your food. And the cool thing is you write down your name and your checkout date on this piece of paper here, and then you label your food so that they know that it's your food and no one else takes it. Down here is a couple of bathrooms, and these are the bathrooms that are used by the dormitories that don't have their own bathrooms. So I'm staying down this hall here in one of the smaller rooms, and this is my room here. And I have a bed here. I prefer the bottom bunks. I think those are the popular ones. One of the things I look for in a hostel is a locker. So these are nice big lockers. You can put an entire backpack in one of these lockers, and that's really amazing. Some hostels have separate power plugs for each bed, and sometimes a small shelf for like your mobile phone or a book or a watch or something like that. This particular one doesn't, but it's not a big deal. I would give this hostel probably a 9.7 or a 10, really high score. And my particular room has a private bathroom. Back in this part of the hostel we have a 6-bed dorm with a couple of guys just relaxing here, and this one actually has its own bathroom, so you don't have to go down the hall. I always like the doorways in a lot of countries in Asia and sometimes in Europe. I get these doorways and don't quite make it through, you can see. But anyway, this is a 6-bed dorm with a bathroom down the hall. So this is one of the cheapest rooms that you can get in this particular hostel. Some hostels have 30 beds, 40 beds in a dormitory, and you go down the hall to a communal bathroom where they have 4 or 5 showers or 6 or 7 toilets. Hostels also offer a private room. If you don't want to stay in a dormitory, you can pay a little bit more and get a private room, and this is what it looks like. This one is actually occupied. Somebody is in this one, they're out for the afternoon, and they gave me permission to come in here. And they have their own private bathroom as well. So you can see it's pretty much like your standard hotel, but typically a little bit lower cost. And the benefit is you have the social area out front, of course. Over here we have another small private room, but this one you have a toilet down the hall, so you pay a little bit less for this private room. So why do I stay in hostels? That's the last question. Well, there's a number of reasons. First is cost. Hostels cost about 1/3 of what a hotel would cost, sometimes up to half, but they're much, much cheaper. I think I'm paying about 12 or 13 euros a night for this particular hostel here for the best dormitory room with only 4 beds in it and a private bathroom. So that's a pretty awesome deal for traveling. That doesn't include breakfast. Sometimes you get breakfast thrown in. It just sort of depends on the hostel, very much like hotels or motels in the United States. But the primary reason is socializing. When you're in a room situation like this with a couple of roommates, like right now I have one roommate from Turkey, another roommate from Moldova, so you can engage in conversations. Like today we were talking about Turkey and ISIS and what's happening there, and I was talking with the other guy in Moldova about the Russians that are moving into Ukraine and about their concerns that Moldova is so close to that area and their thoughts about Russian invasion. So you have some very, very interesting conversations that are with real people that are exposed to these situations and live in these countries where these things are happening instead of just seeing it on the news. And you make some great friends, and you see them again. Sometimes you hang out with them, as you've seen in some of my other videos. So it's a fantastic opportunity to socialize with others, to go on day trips with people in the hostel, to find out about other cities to go visit next, and where to stay, and what to see, and what to do. It's just a fantastic social connection to have when you're in a hostel, and I highly recommend it. It's really awesome. Hope you enjoyed this episode about hostels, and remember, savor the moment and pursue your passions.